All right. So this, I wasn't really planning on putting this out, but I was like, you know what? What's the worst that can happen? Whatever. Here's kind of just some ideas that I'm spitballing. Some of them I put on paper, other ones I have to jot down. But this is just like an easier or quicker way to get my ideas solidified and like, so I don't forget. You know what I mean? So right, this is the game I want to make. Uh, Semi, idle slash active idle, what have you, RPG that's story driven, set in a modern fantasy, low fantasy world that is more or less like a. I'll just come out and say it. Uh, RuneScape, idle, yeah, set modern. Because I like playing. I like playing RPGs. I've been playing RuneScape for over 20 years, or playing on and off for over 20 years. For those in the know, I have a 9 HP account in RS3. I have an account that I can log into with like a scythe. I just recovered an account that was stolen from me in middle school from one of my friends that I went through to like recovered it and went through Tutorial Island, and I have a Iron Man with bunny ears. And if you know, you know. And again, I have access to it. So I've been playing that game since RuneScape Classic. And then I like idle games that are modeled after RuneScape, like Melvor Idle, Idlescape, the online, yada yada. There's some things. Oops, there are some things that I don't like in those games, right? So I want to kind of make a game that alleviates the things I don't like and adds to things I do like. So things I don't like in those games. So we'll take Melvor Idle for example. It's 100% idle. Well, I'll say 98% idle. You can get active as far as like when you're in combat and eating food and stuff. But here's the part that I dislike about that game. You spend 40 hours going from level 1 to max level in, we'll say, fishing. So you get all these fish, spend 40 hours just watching the screen do its thing, and then you go, wow, I have all these fish. And then you're like, wow, I have to cook all these fish now. And it's another 40 hours to cook all those fish before you can actually use them to do something else. And it's really like not when I want to actively play a game, I want to actively play it. When I want to just let it do its thing, I want to let it do its thing. So the idea that I'm cooking up is, like I said at the beginning, like a semi-idle, semi-active game where you can choose. If you want, you can go fish for 40 hours to get max level and then cook for 40 hours, get all those fish cooked, and then use all that food to do some killing and shit. I'm like, what if you don't want to wait? What if you, like, the gathering part, yes, that is a idle passive. You're going to get those over time. What if instead of having to process things ever so slowly before you can use them, what if there's just, hey, you can do it all at once for half the experience, or all at once up to the next level for half the experience, or 2 times speed for 95% of the experience, or 5 times speed for 80%, something like that, where there's a payoff. You can do it idly and you can wait, or hey, you can do this all at once. You can do it just to the next level, and you're going to just take a little hit to the experience. So you're not just sitting around waiting to use the thing that you found. So that's one. That's one thing that, like, especially when you go again from like 1 to 99, you're just like, I got 150,000 fish that I have to cook now. And it's like, it gets to the point where like I don't even want to. Why? I don't want to do that. I want to go do some other things. So that's one thing. And again, like kind of a trade-off of you do it all at once for a slight hit to experience, which doesn't matter because once you're done, you can go do something else and get more of those raw resources to put back in. And if you want, again, you can just have it run overnight or whatever, and it'll do it at its own pace. So that's one of the things. Another thing I don't like in those kind of games is a lot of the times you training one thing only trains that one thing. So again, we'll say fishing. With the exception of like in RuneScape barbarian fishing, when you're fishing, you're only training fishing. Whereas I want there to be adjacent skills that are being trained, typically combat skills or support skills that are also trained. So why not have a skill like dexterity that is trained, hand-eye coordination, that is trained alongside your fishing, because those things kind of go hand in hand, and they both kind of support each other, or at least one supports the hand-eye coordination or dexterity or however I want to name it, will support fishing in that you can fish better, faster, whatever. But also any other skill that, looks like it would need dexterity to improve. So, everything kind of works together in some way where it's like this big mesh web of when you train this will go up, and when you're training this might not go up, but it does help that, but you have to train this to train this, things like that, where everything kind of works together to improve the overall character build. And then another idea is like combat wise. So my idea, again, a low fantasy modern setting, because I want guns in it. I want guns. I like guns. Okay. I think, the sword and board and bow and arrow for ranged, that, for all intents and purposes, it's the same thing. It's just, there's just different skin on it. It has a different name. But I think there's just, especially with firearms, there's more flexibility. You can't put a scope on a bow. I mean, you could, but would it fit a fantasy setting? Probably not. You have different arrow choices, which might have some kind of impact, but for the most part, you have a bow, it's a bow, that's it. Whereas you turn into a piece of, I don't know if advanced machinery, but turn it into a piece or a machine. Now you have options. So I'm going to pump the brakes. Before we talk about combat, let's talk about, crafting and creating items. So one of the things that kind of, I don't know if it's bad or good, but like gear progression in a lot of RPGs is very linear, in that it goes, again, in the case of RuneScape, you start with bronze, you go to iron, then steel, then mithril, then adamant, then rune, dragon, XYZ, onwards. My idea is, rather than having a level limit to the material that you can use, is like, why not have your level impact the quality at which you make it? So, there was an old game, it's still around, but I used to play it way back in like 2005. Pop Mundo, one of the two, where it's like you're a musician, but every single like song you make has like 20 some levels of quality, from like truly abysmal to like earth-shatteringly fantastic. So why not? I was like, why not have that? Where at level 1, you can make anything you want. You can make a shotgun. You can make a rifle. You can make you could make a bow and arrows. You can make a baseball bat, a machete, whatever. All these different weapons. But the quality at which they're created is dictated by your level. So at level 1, all you can make is like dog shit ass gear, but it still functions. It's just like, it's not bad. It's just like, hey, this is some level 1 tiered stuff. And as you progress and level up, your range at which the piece of gear will be crafted at varies, and it has like a set range, +5 based on your level, plus or minus 5. So at level 10, you're not going to make that dog shit anymore. Now you're making like, this is still pretty bad. But you also might make, this is not as bad, but it's still bad gear. And, and it has different, the tier that it's made will give like different stat buffs or debuffs, depending on the tier, worse gear, debuffs. And then, the weapon system as a whole will kind of have a point system attached to it that's not necessarily like in your face, but like, all right, so your receiver is level 6. Your scope is level 7. Your magazine is level 8. So your composite score is 7. So your weapon is, a truly abysmal bolt action rifle. Boom. Truly abysmal rocket shotgun. A shotgun that shoots rockets. Duh. And that kind of, they'll have its stats and you can see that, but, it's very much dictated on your skill level. And of course you can buy shit and whatever. So that's kind of the thought. And then, additionally, it's like, have all those kind of ores or materials available. Not necessarily all available, but they're all can be used at level 1. And then they'll also give different buffs and debuffs depending on the metal used. So something like, I don't know, iron might be heavier, so it'll lower this other stat, which I have to come up with, but it is more, I don't know, it has more power, so it does more damage. If you make an iron sniper rifle, it will be heavier to haul around, but it'll do more damage. And then, you have all different types of metal. And then you can use wood to make weapons as well. It has a mahogany whale tail buttstock that also is heavy, but also increases your hand-eye coordination or your dexterity by +2, so you can aim faster. I'm spitballing here, whatever. So that, like, a very kind of deep customization as far as how your tools and weapons and gear is created. So like moving to combat, right? So I envision it in my head like very similar to most of these games. However, there's going to be like a story-driven element implemented in that, okay, you're engaging with enemy 1 and it's a bad guy. It's just a guy, right? So you have options, like depending on what gear you're using, your character might, if you have a sniper rifle, you're not just going to stand there and just shoot and then he's going to shoot back and you're going to shoot and he's going to shoot back and that's it. You might first, it'll be like your character, like he doesn't know you're there. He's still unknown. He's there. But instead of making a shot right away, your character goes and finds a place, up here to take the shot. And then the shot is fired. It hits him. He's dead. Or shoot, it's a miss. Now he's alerted. So now before he can fire back at you, he has to come within range, which will literally just be a countdown of like, in 8 seconds he will take his first shot, whereas you reload, bang, shoot again. Oh, you killed him, cool, nothing. Otherwise, now he's in range, he's firing at you. Your stealth and your evasion is diminished because he is now shooting at you who you are located. So now you have to switch to either your alternate weapon, a pistol, a silenced pistol, and now you're both just in a shootout. But yeah, that's kind of in my head. That's how I envision that going. Or if you have a shotgun, the first move is he doesn't know you're there. You're coming up to him. You're taking cover behind something. He still is unaware that you're there, and you do some drywall work, and it's it. The fight's over. So kind of a trade-off between you can go in guns blazing, putting yourself at risk and needing more, resources in order to survive, or you can go kind of I'm back here. I'm going to try to just get your ass from far away. And if you succeed, great. It was a clean, easy, fight. But if you don't, it's like, oh shit, now it's like you got some trouble heading your way. So some payoffs there. And like, again, different stats will impact how things work and what's going on. So yeah, and it's kind of again, this is way, way, way out the scope of what I know how to do now, but I don't, in what I'm learning, because I'm still going through learning GD script by developing a game with Godot 4. With what I'm learning and what I'm practicing and putting it on, the program, none of this stuff seems outside the realm of possibility. It's just a matter of like framing it in a way that works, or setting it up so that's just how shit does its thing. Now, will it be sexy and polished and perfect? No, of course not. I don't know what the fuck I'm doing, but we'll get there when we get there. Another thing, after, we're talking about, skill in combat, yada, yada, yada. It's like, okay, what else is there? Okay. The other thing that I'm thinking is, because all that can be done idly. You don't necessarily need to be there for any of that to happen. I'm thinking about creating like almost like an adventure mode, in quotes, not like Dwarf Fortress adventure mode, but more like randomly generated or procedurally generated, whatever you want to call it, like adventures where it's like, oh, pick a location, pick a difficulty. Oh, you want to go to the city on easy mode. Okay, you're probably just going to be scavenging for shit. And as you kind of get these scenarios thrown your way, you can make decisions on, how to go about it. Oh, you notice a group of 4, bandits, we could say, raiders, at this location. You can do a stealth check to see if you can kind of go and see what they got and steal some shit for leveling up your thieving skill. Or you can engage directly, leveling, getting into combat, and then you get kind of more bonuses and more resources and more experience doing that than you would just, I'm going to go chop some trees for 40 hours. Or if you're doing, going on an adventure in the forest, you might come across a tree that, holy shit, and you chop it down, cool, and you get some logs. And then, the next scenario might be like, oh, you encounter a bear. Now you got to fight this bear that is like coming at you, and you have a sniper rifle, and you have to take like pop shots before it gets to you, and then you might get mauled to death. Whatever. So, like, oh, I want to do a medium adventure in a swamp, and oh fuck, zombies. So that's why I'm like, okay, it has to be kind of a fantasy realm. Just because I'm starting to think, like, I forget the name of the game, the Tom Clancy game that was like online, but it was an RPG with like Divergent or D something. I forget what it's called. But I remember playing that game, and like you get to a certain level and like, oh shit, I have this light machine gun that I emptied 100 rounds into this guy, and he's still running around seeking cover and firing back at me. I'm like, the fuck was that? So I don't want bullet sponge humans. So that's why I was like, let's switch this from like just modern realm to like modern fantasy, because I kind of want it so like not modern, but humans are like not, boss type characters, unless you're getting swarmed by like 14 and you're just up there in the hill like, oh shit. Humans are very much like regular humans. You watching this, me. So the fantasy element, so I was like, hey, maybe, like I said, zombies. Fucking, we'll have some zombies in the game. Maybe have a dragon or two. Have some dragons. Bigger, kind of beastier characters where it's like they can be bullet sponges because they are big and they can handle it. Because again, nobody wants to kill a human or fire 100 rounds into a human, like it's damn Tony Montana at the end of Scarface, and he's just getting blasted and he's just still standing, you know. So it's kind of what I'm thinking. That's what I'm thinking about. I'm making a new Magic deck. Commander.